Turkey's rise in Africa, port power and possibility. In Senegal, Turkey's oil deal is making waves. In Somalia, its navy is growing. Across Africa, one country is quietly reshaping the continent. But why is Turkey winning where others are just talking? Hello, I'm Saron Zamanil and this is Analytica Today. While the US is stuck in proxy wars and Europe debates sanctions, Turkey has quietly accelerated its reach across Africa through energy, infrastructure, diplomacy, and military training. From floating power plants in West Africa to naval deals on the East Coast, Turkey is everywhere. Today we're looking at how Turkey is building a continent-wide presence and what's driving it and what that says about Africa's rising value in today's world. Turkey's growing influence in Africa isn't accidental, it's strategic. A well-calculated long-term strategy over the last few years. Over the last few years, Turkey has built a diverse network across the continent. In West Africa, Turkish Petroleum signed a major oil and gas pact with Senegal just last year, opening a new chapter in energy cooperation. Meanwhile, Car Power Ship, Turkey's fleet of floating power plants, now supplies electricity to 8 African countries, including Senegal, Ghana, Mozambique, and Sierra Leone, bridging critical energy gaps. In East Africa, Turkey deepened its energy footprint again this April, inking a landmark oil exploration and production deal with Somalia that covers both onshore and offshore blocks. In North Africa, Turkey secured exploration rights for 4 offshore blocks in Libya. And just this week, combining resource deals with diplomatic leverage in a fragile post-conflict state. This isn't just about oil, it's about presence, influence. But Turkey's influence isn't just measured in oil and megawatts. Cultural diplomacy is also in play. Since the 1990s, Turkish schools, foundations, and religious institutions have quietly built grassroots relationships. Now, TRT broadcasts in Hausa and Swahili, speaking directly to African audiences in their own languages, reshaping narratives in ways old colonial language never could. This mix of energy, deals, cultural outreach, and consistent diplomatic engagement offers something rare in Africa's modern geopolitics, a partner that shows up across sectors and stays. But Turkey isn't just building schools and sending scholarships, it's sending soldiers and hardware too. In Somalia, Turkey built its largest foreign military base back in 2017. Today, it's more than a base. It's a training ground, a diplomatic listening post, and a launchpad for Turkey's military support across the region. This year alone, Turkey delivered combat helicopters, naval choppers, and advanced drones to support Somalia's fight against Al-Shabaab. And while it's bolstering Somalia's coastline and securing joint oil's interests, Turkey is also playing a mediator, brokering peace talks between Somalia and Ethiopia, where regional tensions risk flaring into something bigger. Zoom out, and Turkey's military-industrial complex is quietly gaining ground across the continent. Its Bayraktar drones and armed vehicles are now in use in at least 15 African countries, not just as tools of war, but as symbols of trust in Turkey's defense industry. What we're seeing is a dual strategy, where Turkey blends soft and hard power to position itself not just as a supplier, but as a partner in African state building. And in a world where many outside powers still treat Africa as an afterthought, Ankara's consistency is what makes it stand out. So why is Turkey doing all this, and why now? The answer lies in a larger global realignment, as the US retrenches, distracted by proxy wars and domestic politics, as Europe grapples with energy crisis, migration, and rising populism, and as China faces pushback on its Belt and Road model, Turkey sees an opening, a chance to lead where others hesitate. Africa, with its growing population abundant, resources, and strategic coastlines, is no longer just a continent of crisis, it's a continent of new opportunity. And Turkey knows the future of influence will be decided here. Unlike traditional powers, Ankara isn't weighed down by colonial baggage. It doesn't preach values or demand political alignment. Instead, it offers deals, often fast and flexible and backed by military guarantees, construction capacity, and deep cultural familiarity through religion. From training Somali naval officers to building steel plants in Algeria, to shipping electricity on floating barges, Turkey is embedding itself in Africa's infrastructure, governance, and future leadership. But here's the thing, Africa is fast becoming the battleground of the multipolar world, where powers compete not with tanks and treaties, but with investment, portfolios, satellite channels, and scholarships. And while the West debates how to fix Africa, Turkey is helping build it on African terms. Even so, there are real questions. Can Turkey sustain this momentum without overextending itself? And more importantly, how will rivals like the UAE, France, or China respond as Ankara grows its reach in regions like the Sahel and the Horn? What's clear is this: Africa is no longer a pawn in global power games. It's becoming the board. And Turkey, it's playing to win. Not just influence, not just contracts, but a lasting presence in a continent that holds the key to the future: energy, trade routes, critical minerals, labor, and the next generation of global citizens. The question isn't whether Africa will rise, it's who will rise with it and who will be left out of the picture.